Interesting. For some reason, it's saying the video is private, so that's weird. I don't know why. I wonder if YouTube just brought me to the wrong page. Let's refresh it. There we go. It's working now. YouTube was just having a moment. Hey, thank you so much, people, for subscribing to the iACast. We now have 113 subscribers now. So that's very exciting. So yes, if you are in chat, say hello. We'll be getting started in just a moment. Very excited for this episode, even if it is just me talking to the world. We may have some of our regulars come in to the podcast midway through, and so that will be totally okay. So very exciting. If you are watching later, please subscribe to the feed, and we would love to have you along. Um, I'm going to tweet this out real quick. I guess I can't call it that, can I? I keep forgetting about that. Can't call it tweeting anymore. Yep. I can't spell. All right, that's been tweeted. I'm going to I just copied it and I'm going to throw it on Mastodon. Okay. So again, welcome if you're here. Thanks for being around. Thanks, Taylor, for being in chat. I see you said hello, hi. So I'm going to get started in just a moment. Giving people just a moment to get logged in if they want to join the show. Taylor, how is my audio? Am I coming in clear, or am I too hot, or anything? Too loud. Okay. So just a moment, folks. Okay, how about that? I was kind of worried about that. Testing, testing. Okay. That did not change my testing, testing. Okay. So, all right. I'm setting my monitor, so that's why it may have been a little weird. I love my microphone. It's just getting it calibrated to the way I like. That it takes a minute. So it's there now, so we can get going here pretty soon. Okay, so it's just gonna be me this time. I've got a lot to talk about, so I'm kind of excited about that. So, um, all right. I'm gonna go into Zoom here, and we're gonna start the recording. That's so nice. I don't have to hit a got it button for me recording, since I told it to do so. So that's great. Okay, this won't be a very long episode, so we'll just kick it out here and make it happen. It kind of stinks when we don't have people to discuss with. So it is what it is. We'll miss them. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 189 of the iACast. All right, my name is Michael, and I'm who you have today. That's it. There's nobody else with me so far today. If they show up, then that will be great. But we're going to run on the assertion that it will just be me today. So I haven't done this in a long, long time. I'm used to podcasting with a group of folks, and you get used to that. So it is what it is. So we got some great news to talk about today, and I'm really excited about it because there's some, well, okay, I should say there's some news that I'm excited about and some news I'm not excited about. So let's just get started with the bad news, the news that I'm not really a big fan of. And if you're in chat on YouTube or if you're hearing this later, I'm curious your thoughts, and I keep meaning, and I always forget that we want to start sending this to iACast Radio, which is now a thing, folks. We are updating iACast Radio again. There is a new echo skill, so you could tell it to play iACast live. I couldn't change it to radio, unfortunately. And the app is working. We had a problem in the app where you could not play podcasts at one point. That has been fixed. So all of those things are working now. The iACast Radio, I've taken down all of the automations and things, so now when you log in, you'll just be given some random content that you can just listen to and just go with from there. So I do need to tweak it, kind of make some changes, but yeah, iACast Radio is now back with new content. So I'm going to try to update it once a week, and we'll go from there. I'd love to get some radio shows on there too, just some tech talk radio. That would be amazing. So if you're interested or you know somebody that's interested, let me know and we can make that happen. As for our news this week, we have, uh, well, I tried to make a good joke or good pun. It didn't happen. Twitter, Elon has changed Twitter to a new brand called X. It started, about the time that I guess Friday, guess we didn't know about it before the iACast. And they, Elon said he's changing it to X, and it happened last week. And I mean, all this stuff really just happened in a week. I mean, it's crazy how fast this stuff develops now. In the past years during the pandemic and other times, we'd have, tech that we'd hear about changes every few weeks. Things just did not happen as fast as they do. Now we have like we had the Beats Studio Pros last week and the week before. I mean, and we had the all those things. So it's like every week there's new tech, new things coming out. It's just amazing to me. So it's like we're always getting something new. And, Elon did that this week with Twitter turning into X. And I really have um, a lot of opinions about it. It seems like every weekend he's doing something new. In fact, I just saw a tweet that says something is something big is coming or something like that before I did the podcast. So who knows what that will be? Who knows if it's good or who knows if it's bad? So we'll if it is worth noting, we will report on it next week. But you know, enough with the preamble. Twitter is now X. It's just all it is, and it started with an update on the website from Twitter to X. He made a contest on Twitter and said the first person that can give me a good X logo will be the logo, and it will go on the website and be the main logo. Well, that happened, and it's basically an offshoot of a Unicode character, and it's now replacing the Twitter logo on the building. The iOS and Android apps have been updated to reflect this change. The app is now showing X. We've had the updates for iOS and Android this week with these changes. So, is this a good or a bad thing? I would say it's a bad thing because we've built a brand over the last 10 or so years, right? Of X. I mean, not of X. What am I talking about? Of Twitter. And now it becoming X is just, what do you call posts? And I think he wants to call them posts now. Uh, the fan community, or not fans, but the community wants to call them Zeets, Xeets, which I think is hilarious. But it's just a lot of, he wants to change the brand. And you might be wondering why he's changing the name of Twitter. And that's because he wants the X app to be the everything app. So you'll be able to transfer money, you'll be able to talk to friends, message, all these things. And that's not what Twitter was designed to be. So I'm wondering why now? Why now? Why did he make this now? Twitter has been around for a long time, and he's owned it for about a year now, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember exactly the amount of time, but he's owned it, and he could do what he wants with it. But one of my questions is, why did he hire a CEO if he's just going to make rules anyway? So I don't know. And then there was another tweet during the week that said that the dark mode version of Twitter would be the only uh, way to use the app because it was better that way. So it looks like we will be losing dark mode support. I mean, light mode support in the Twitter/X app. So those are things that you have to look forward to if you use Twitter. Again, there are other options out there now. There is Threads, which I watched a video where somebody said that they felt like, or they were using their phone and they got the logos confused because they're both the same color schemes now, black and white. So it's one of those things that you just don't know what to make of these things. But other platforms, I'm still a huge Mastodon fan. You'll get my Mastodon stuff at the end of the episode. But it's just, I don't know. It's a shame. It's the end of a culture. It's the end of an identity. It's the end of a lot of things because he just didn't like it, and I think that's a big shame. So, long live Twitter. It is now gone. Rest in peace. But I guess we've got to move on. And again, there's so many good social media networks out there. There's Mastodon. There's all these others, and Threads will eventually join the Fediverse. And just keep in mind, if you are a Mastodon user, your instance may or may not support Threads. So a lot of people are saying they do not want anything related to Meta on their servers. And the one thing about that uh, is that that's a server admin choice, and I kind of feel like as a server admin, you would really need to, if you have a lot of users, and this even is some of the blindness community servers, you'd really need to take a toll of of your users and say, what do the people want? What do you all want out there, for if Threads can access the server? So I think those are all very big things to consider, right? So I guess we will. I mean, a lot of podcasts are making the joke they'll never talk about Twitter again, but you know, it's still Twitter to a lot of people. It really is. And the interesting thing is, if you want Twitter, go on the Mac. The Twitter app for Mac so far has not been updated yet. So to me, that is very interesting. So that is the latest on X and Twitter. I think we'll have other conversations about this as time goes on, because our regulars that are usually here, I would love to get their thoughts on this, because my thoughts, right? But it's still a big deal, and it's a big change, because Twitter was the town square, right? You would go to get your weather, you'd go to get your news, you go to get those other things, and X is kind of pushing people away. I heard a statistic on a podcast that Twitter had, 250 million users, and now it's down to about 175 million. So I think it's a shame that all these changes are happening and people are dropping off. But what can you do? You know, uh, what can you do? So on to some more interesting topics, and we've got two more today. And if you haven't heard last week's episode of the iACast, I would check it out. We did some great talk discussion about routers, so that was really good. Um, we really enjoyed that discussion. And if you listen to Unmute Presents, they talked about a lot of different content. They talked about um, let's see, the Friday Finds. Michael talked about um, you know several topics, so check that out. I honestly cannot remember what they were off the top of my head, but they do some great shows. They have, I think they did their security show this week, unless the weeks are blurring together. And they've done the Shell Phone show. I was on the community call on Tuesday, and Technically Working was great. They talked about their experiences traveling. Yeah, I think so. And networking, kind of it felt like a continuation, or well, I guess in that case they recorded a day before we did the router discussion. So it was just kind of a continuation of that. So check out all of the shows on Unmute Presents. They are fantastic. The next topic I really want to talk about is the Vision Pro. And as few people know, as you all know here, I am so excited about the Vision Pro. That is going to be the best virtual or augmented reality headset, because it's going to have accessibility in mind. Now, one thing that I did find out that I found very interesting is they are, at least right now, saying that this thing is not uh, uh it's not invincible, is the best way I could put it. If you run into something, that glass will scratch or shatter, is what I've been hearing online. So you really, really, really want to be careful with your Vision Pro, especially with the dev kits. I think they're still working out some kinks to make it, more usable. But yeah, they say if you run into something with that rounded glass front, it's not going to be good. So Keep those things in mind. It's not going to be that it's not going to be that Amazon tablet where they show it get ran over or fall off a vehicle. It's not going to be that, and it probably will not have the same quality of glass as your iPhone. Where you can have it fall and all those things. So I would keep those things in mind if you plan to get one. You need to be careful with it, and if you do buy one, as a friend of the show likes to say, buy Apple Care, because it's so important for a $3,500 piece of gear that you're walking around with. Make sure that it's going to last, and Apple Care will do that. Apple Care will protect that device. So, really recommend people do that. As for the updates that we know of now, it's very exciting. The Vision OS and Vision Pro labs are now open. They're in several places around the world. I know two of them are London and Cupertino, and there's a few other places, but no Austin, unfortunately. Makes me sad. And they are reservation only. They started this week. The labs are closed for this time, but they're also doing the developer kits, the where you can loan out a developer kit. And the interesting thing is that the rules for these developer kits are quite strict. You cannot take them out of your location, and nobody other than your authorized developers on your developer account can use the Vision Pro. So keep that in mind. They also, from what I've heard, need you to measure your head if you get approved for one. I do not know how much they will cost to loan them out, but I do know that they are going to be loaned out, and they will have an air tag on them so that they can make sure that the device stays at the current address where you have sent them or where they ship them to. So those are some updates on the Vision Pro. So you might want to really, if you're planning on getting one of these, you really need to read the terms of service because they are important, especially this time. Most people don't read the terms of service. This time, I highly recommend it. So that's what we know currently on the Vision Pro. The last bit of news that we need to unpack today, I got it. I got that one in there. Is the Samsung Unpacked July 2023 event. It feels like all of their events they call Unpacked because I think there's like a January Unpacked, there's a July, and all these others. And this one is pretty exciting. There's four devices I want to talk about. Two of them really don't excite me because I've just never been a fan of folding phones. Right? I've just never cared too much for the concept of a folding phone. Maybe I just haven't seen one. And it's like, okay, if I see one, it'll be like, okay, I need to have this in my life. Right? But I have never seen one. Maybe I just need to go to Best Buy and put my hands on one. Um, have to be like Angie on this one and just go and play with it for a bit. But I just haven't seen them, and the concept just it feels like it would be too breakable for a just moving around the world or the environment. Now, the flip sounds kind of interesting, and I'm kind of curious how that will work. But the fold, making it into a tablet, I just don't know. With how we have to do zooming and speech and all those things as a low vision to blind person, I don't know how that would go personally. Um, but at the same time, people may love them. So they're just very expensive devices. Like the Pixel Fold came out and all those things. So As for these two devices, the Z Fold 5 and the Z Flip 5, they apparently are very similar hardware, but they have newer specs, maybe some changes to the screens. Very little, though, has changed. It's an iterative year and less of a revolutionary new device build year. Apple does this all the time, so it's very typical, right? So I'm I'm just hesitant. Like, if I guess if you're going to get one of these devices, it's get it now if you don't have one, or if you have several year old one. But what excites me is the other two devices they announced this time. I'm gonna cut and let people run through the halls and be crazy for a minute. Okay, three, two, one. As a dog barks loudly in the hall. Awesome. Hello, we have three people watching. Excellent. I'm one of them, so you know. All right, let's try this again. Three, two, one. So the last area I want to talk about here, which really has me excited, is the last two devices that they announced, and that's the Galaxy Watch 6, I think it is, and the Galaxy Watch Classic. And I don't know if both of them have this feature, but I heard that they went back to the bezel that can turn, like around it, since it's a round watch, and it just makes me very excited because I've really liked that on the Galaxy watches. I've never owned one, I don't plan to, but I just like that form factor, right? Where you can turn the actual bezel of the watch to make things happen. I think that's really, really cool. Uh, I still like my Apple Watches. I won't switch from my Apple Watches. I'm wearing it right now. But just that concept is really, really neat. I think it's really cool. So good on Samsung for kind of going back to that design technique, right? I think that's really a neat thing that they've done. And I don't know the pricing on all these, so you'll have to look that up. But I'll have articles to all these things in the show notes. But the last one really has me excited, and that's changes to the Galaxy Tab S series. So we got the S9 this year, right? And with the S9, we had, or with the S8, certain models had an LCD screen, certain models had a mini LED screen, and now the latest model just have, even on the 11-inch, the smallest one, they have OLED. And that's really exciting because that means that all of their devices are going to have great screens. It starts at $799, and they do have the S9, S9 Plus, and S9 Ultra like they always have, and they just go up in price to their $999 and $1199. If you're gonna buy an Android tablet, a premier Android tablet, these are the ones to go with, folks. So that Pixel tablet is cool if you just want a very cheap tablet, but if you're going to get, like, if you want an iPad quality thing for Android, get the not Pixel Tab, get the Samsung Galaxy Tab S series. They are fantastic devices. I have one, an S8. They even have a vibration motor in them, and they have a lot of other things that iPads do not have. The one thing they don't have is as good of speakers. So keep that in mind. But they are very good tablets. They have that vibrant Samsung screen that I really like as being low vision. So I'm still rocking my iPad M1, and that one's getting in the years now. So it just depends on what you need, right? And the Samsung ones are thinner than the iPads, and they come with the S Pen, so you're gonna get all that stuff. And it's just very exciting that they're updating these. I don't know if they've updated the chip or things like that, but they are fantastic tablets. So I'd highly check those out if you don't want an iOS tablet. It works with TalkBack and all those things. So cut. I could see people aren't interested in the Samsung stuff. Oh boy, that's hilarious. I'm keeping track chat in here on YouTube of who's here. And I was just we had 3, 2, 1. So it's like, well, we see what people think about all this. So 3, 2, 1. And I just think that if you're gonna get one of these, it's the way to go. So it's fantastic. Well, we're gonna have a very quick wrap up. I think these were the biggest and most interesting tech things that have happened this week. But we'll be back next week with for more, and hopefully with more of our folks back. And we'll check out everything that we've missed this week and have a good long conversation about it. I can't believe we've been able to talk as long as we have about all of these things as one person. I can imagine if we had the whole group, though, this would have been a very long conversation, as it typically is. So I want to say that it's been great getting to share all these things with you guys, and we'll be back yet again next week with another episode. And as we typically do, let's see, what do I want to pick? So many great things. Oh, yes, I know what I'm going to pick. I started a new show, and I'm really enjoying it. It's Star Trek Lower Decks. And if you're a Star Trek fan, it's great. And there are voice actors from the TV show. So you actually get little bits and pieces of where people are after Voyager, Next Generation and things like that. So you actually get to see Will Riker on the Titan. You get to see a brief minute of Tom Paris. You get to see all these people from older Star Trek, and it's just fantastic. So check out Lower Decks. It's on Paramount Plus, and it is audio described as well, so it's really cool. As for where people can find me online, I'm Michael Doise on most platforms. Mike Doise at techopolis.social on Mastodon. I'm Mike Doise on X. Yeah, that feels weird. I'm Michael Doise on Facebook, and you can email me at mikedoise@icloud.com. And you could also send us feedback at iacast.net. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Did you enjoy it with one person, or would you just have rather me just wait till next week to talk about all this stuff? I really would love to know your thoughts. So we're also going to be working on a few other projects, so keep on the lookout for that. And I hope you guys are enjoying the chapters and all the updated things in the podcast. Let me know how you think that's going as well. The more feedback, the better, as long as it's not spam. Spam is bad. No spam. But again, thank you so much for being here. We will be back next week with a new episode. And we really miss our usuals, Michael, Marty, Lynn, Angie. You guys are great. So we hope that you guys will be back with us next week. So thanks again for listening to this episode of the iACast, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.